what if the ultimate psychological blueprint for your life doesn't take weeks to read, but exactly 5 seconds?
I mean, that sounds impossible, right?
It really does. But today, you, our listener, have handed us a text that is just 13 words long.
13 words.
Yeah, 13 words. And yet, it somehow contains a complete operating system for human behavior. Welcome to today's deep dive, by the way.
Glad to be here. And, we usually expect these philosophical frameworks to be massive.
Oh, yeah. Like sprawling books with chapters upon chapters building this dense argument.
Right, where you need a map just to navigate the terminology alone.
Exactly, which is what makes the source material you sent us today such a fascinating challenge.
It really is. Because when a text is this brief, I mean, every single syllable carries weight.
There's no filler at all.
No filler, nowhere to hide. We have to look at the exact mechanics of how these specific words operate on the human mind. We're essentially looking at a blueprint stripped of all the noise.
So let's just lay it out. The text is titled The Dawn of Daily Victory, and the entire framework consists of 2 sentences. Ready? Every morning is a new chance, and win the day.
That's it.
That is the entirety of the source material, 13 words.
Wow.
But to understand the massive psychological implications here,
Yeah.
we have to start with the environment this text constructs, right? Like before it even gives a command.
Yeah, the framing is crucial.
Let's look at the title, because it doesn't say, a guide to being productive or how to have a good Tuesday.
Right, it deliberately uses the word dawn.
Yes, dawn, which is so specific.
It is. I mean, think about what a dawn is in a literal sense. It's a natural, inevitable, entirely passive astronomical event.
Right. The Earth rotates, the sun comes up.
Exactly. It happens whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're prepared or completely unready.
It just happened.
Yeah, it's this massive cosmic mechanism that you have absolutely no control over. But then the text immediately juxtaposes dawn with the word victory.
And victory is, well, it's the exact opposite of passive.
100%.
It requires action. It's earned. It's this strictly human achievement that requires struggle, resistance, and overcoming some kind of obstacle.
So by slamming those 2 concepts together, the inevitable cosmic sunrise and the grueling human struggle for triumph, the text reframes the passage of time entirely.
How so?
Well, it demands that you view your life through a lens of epic consequence. Because, let's face it, we all suffer from the friction of the mundane.
Oh, totally. The morning commute, the endless emails.
Folding the laundry.
Yes, folding laundry is the worst.
Right, but this title forces a cinematic framing onto those everyday events.
Okay, let's unpack this cinematic framing, because it sets the stage so that the passage of time isn't just like a clock ticking in the background.
No, it becomes a recurring stage for personal triumph.
Yeah, it's like treating a random Tuesday morning not just as an alarm clock ringing, but as the opening scene of an epic gladiator movie.
You hear your alarm, and it's not a buzzer, it's a war horn.
Right, the gates are opening, the arena is waiting, which honestly sounds highly inspiring on a Monday.
Sure, when you're rested.
But there has to be a potential danger in that epic framing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if every single day is treated as a historic battle, that seems like a recipe for deep exhaustion.
Oh, absolutely.
Because sometimes I don't want a dawn of victory. Sometimes I just want a dawn of drinking coffee in my sweatpants and staring at a wall, without feeling like I'm letting the arena down.
Yeah, and you're hitting on the core tension of this entire philosophy. Living at a high pitch of epic struggle requires managing your cognitive load.
Your cognitive load, meaning?
Meaning the amount of mental effort and energy you're expending at any given moment.
Okay.
If you treat everything like a life or death battle, your cognitive load maxes out and you burn out fast.
That sense.
But the counter-argument implied by this framework is that the baseline state of human existence is entropy.
Entropy. Okay, let's break down entropy for a second, because I think that's a crucial concept here. We usually hear that in physics.
Right, thermodynamics.
Yeah, but applied to human behavior, it's essentially the natural tendency for things to slide into messiness, decay, and inaction if we don't actively put energy into maintaining them.
Yes, exactly. If you don't actively organize your room, it gets messy.
It just becomes a disaster zone.
Right. If you don't actively maintain a relationship, it fades. So if we don't deliberately elevate the stakes of our daily lives, we naturally slide into complacency. The exhaustion of the gladiator movie mindset is heavy, sure, but it's arguably less destructive over the long term than the slow, quiet exhaustion of a life lived without any stakes at all.
The slow fade of potential.
Exactly.
So it's kind of about choosing your heart. Like, it's hard to fight a battle every day, but it's harder to wake up 10 years from now and realize you never even stepped into the arena because you were too comfortable in the stands.
That's a great way to put it. And the text actually anticipates this exhaustion.
It does.
Well, it knows that fighting daily is a heavy burden. This is why it moves from the grand stage set by the title directly into a mechanism of extreme psychological relief.
Oh, I see. The first core tenet.
Yes. Every morning is a new chance. Notice the radical optimism in the word every.
Yeah, it's absolute. It's not some mornings are a new chance or Mondays are a new chance if you had a good weekend.
Right. It implies a limitless supply of opportunities.
Okay, so what does this all mean for yesterday's mistakes?
Well, what this sentence introduces is a philosophy of temporal forgiveness.
Temporal forgiveness.
It suggests that whatever failures or setbacks occurred the day before are structurally irrelevant to the dawn.
Wow. Irrelevant.
Think about the psychological baggage we all carry. You know, the diet we broke yesterday at lunch.
Or the project we procrastinated on for 3 hours.
The argument you had with a colleague. Human beings have this terrible tendency to let the failures of Tuesday bleed into the potential of Wednesday.
Oh, completely.
We suffer from the sunk cost fallacy of our own moods.
The sunk cost fallacy is such a real trap. That's that psychological glitch where you feel like because you already spent a ruined morning by oversleeping or messing up a task, your brain illogically decides the rest of the day's potential is completely worthless.
Exactly.
Like if I ruin my diet by eating a donut at 10 a.m., the sunk cost fallacy tells my brain, well, the day is already ruined, the investment is lost, might as well order a massive pizza for dinner.
Right, and then the loss just cascades.
The cascade effect, yeah.
Right.
And that's exactly what destroys long-term progress.
Which is why this text attempts to build a firewall against that cascade.
a firewall.
By stating that every morning is a new chance, it creates a psychological severing of yesterday's baggage. The dawn acts as a physical barrier between the failure of the past and the potential of the present.
You know, it works a lot like a video game resetting to the last save point.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, like you're fighting the boss, your character makes a mistake, gets hit, and the screen goes black.
Yeah.
Game over. But then you instantly respawn right back outside the boss room.
Ready to go again.
Yeah, you have full health. Your inventory is full. The game doesn't punish you by making you start the next attempt with half your health missing just because you failed the last time. It simply says, new chance, go.
And that save point analogy highlights the protective mechanism at work here. To maintain the massive amount of energy required for a daily victory, you cannot be dragging the corpses of yesterday's defeats into today's arena.
You just can't.
The mental bandwidth required to process past failures actively prevents you from engaging with present opportunities.
Because you only have so much processing power in your brain,
Right.
like RAM in a computer.
Exactly like RAM. If half your RAM is running background programs of guilt and regret about yesterday, you don't have enough processing power left to execute today's strategy.
Oh, wait, I do struggle with this clean slate idea a little bit. How so? Well, if we treat every morning as a literal reset to the save point, and we just wipe the slate clean every time the sun comes up, aren't we in danger of making the exact same mistakes over and over?
That's a valid concern.
Because if I had a terrible communication breakdown with my team yesterday, and today I just say, new chance, clean slate, and ignore what happened, I'm probably going to cause another breakdown.
Right, you can't just ignore reality.
So how do we keep the lesson but track the guilt? Do we lose our inventory of lessons learned when we hit that reset button?
No, not at all. If we look at cognitive behavioral frameworks, the concept of a new chance doesn't mean amnesia. It means shedding the emotional paralysis of the past, not the data of the past.
Okay, shedding the paralysis, not the data. I like that.
Going back to your video game save point,
Yeah.
you remember the boss's attack pattern, right? You learned that when the boss raises its left arm, you need to dodge right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I died to that move 3 times.
Exactly. You kept that crucial data, but you don't carry the despair or the frustration of the previous game over screen into the new attempt.
Right.
You use the temporal forgiveness of the morning to clear the emotional cache. Your processing power is now entirely focused on executing the new strategy with the data you gathered yesterday.
So the morning doesn't erase your memory, it resets your emotional equilibrium so you can actually use your memory effectively.
Precisely.
Man, that distinction changes everything. Okay, so the morning provides the chance, the cinematic stage is set by the dawn, and the emotional baggage from yesterday is dropped.
Yes.
But passive observation of this fresh start isn't going to produce a victory. We need an action.
We do. And that brings us to the sharp pivot at the end of the text.
Let's talk about it, because if the morning is the chance and the stage is set, what is the required action?
Well, the text moves from the passive reality of the morning into an aggressive, unyielding command. The final excerpt, win the day.
Win the day.
It completely shifts the tone from observational to a strict imperative.
Yeah, it doesn't advise you to survive the day
Or experience the day.
or mindfully observe your feelings as you navigate the day.
No, it's incredibly blunt. Win.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me, because it frames the day as the definitive contest.
Yes, and this is a brilliant, stripped-down example of gamification.
Gamification.
Yeah, which is how human beings use elements of play, like scoring, competition, and rules, to motivate themselves through difficult or tedious tasks.
But when we usually talk about gamification in productivity or psychology, we're talking about complex systems, right? Like earning points, getting badges, climbing a leaderboard.
Sure. Yeah.
But this text skips all of that and just gives us the ultimate binary condition, win.
Win or lose.
Exactly. The word win forces you to categorize your existence into a strict success or failure state. There's no gray area.
And that rejection of the gray area is deeply provocative. We live in a culture that often encourages nuance, participation, finding middle ground.
Yeah, everybody gets a trophy.
Right, but win the day demands a harsh standard of measurement.
So I want you, the listener, to consider what winning actually looks like in this framework. Because if a day can be won, it strongly implies it can also be lost.
It does.
But the text never actually defines the victory condition. It doesn't say, win the day by making 10 sales calls or win the day by running 5 miles. So who or what is the opponent in this arena?
The genius of the text's brevity is that it leaves the opponent undefined. The opponent is entirely subjective to the individual facing the dawn.
Ah, okay. So it could be time itself?
Sure.
Like racing the clock to finish a creative project before a deadline.
Or, for someone struggling with chronic procrastination, the opponent is their own internal resistance.
What about bigger external things?
For someone building a startup, the opponent might be external market forces or dwindling capital.
Or what about internal struggles?
Like mental health.
Yes. For someone battling severe depression, the opponent might literally be the gravity of their own bed sheets in the morning. Getting out of bed is the victory. So the victory scales to the reality of whatever arena the listener is standing in.
Exactly. By not defining the opponent, the text allows you to insert whatever specific obstacle is standing between you and your potential today.
That's incredibly adaptable.
It is. But the underlying neurological mechanism remains the same. You must gamify that specific obstacle.
Let's dig into that neurological mechanism. How does setting a binary win-loss state actually change behavior in the brain? Why is that more effective than just telling yourself to do your best?
It comes down to dopamine.
Dopamine, the reward chemical.
Well, yes, but it's not just about pleasure. Dopamine is the molecule of motivation and reward prediction. It's how the brain prioritizes focus.
Okay, reward prediction.
When you have a nebulous goal, like have a productive day or do your best, the brain doesn't have a clear finish line to cross.
Because it's blurry.
Because the condition for success is blurry, yes. And so the brain doesn't release the anticipatory dopamine needed to push through friction.
So that's why it's so easy to drift.
Exactly. It's easy to get distracted by your phone or prioritize low-value tasks because everything feels vaguely like doing your best.
But when you define a binary win condition,
You create a discrete target. Your brain now has a clear set of rules for the game. If you say, winning today means finishing this specific report, your brain can map the distance between where you are and the victory condition.
let's see.
As you take steps toward that clear goal, your brain releases dopamine, which reinforces your focus and naturally filters out distractions.
So you start making tactical decisions.
Exactly. You suddenly have a reason to say no to scrolling social media because scrolling actively prevents the win state.
The binary nature forces your brain to prioritize high-value actions over low-value comforts.
Yes.
It sharpens the blurry edges of life. I mean, it's the exact difference between going for a casual walk and running a timed race.
That's a great example.
The physical mechanics of moving your legs might be similar, but the mental posture is completely transformed.
Yeah.
When you're trying to win a race, you're strategizing your breathing, you're watching the clock, you're pushing through the burn.
You become an active participant in your own timeline rather than a passive recipient of circumstances.
That is so powerful.
It really is. And pulling all of these elements together gives us a cohesive synthesis of what this entire 13-word source material is doing.
Let's summarize it.
Sure. Despite its brevity, the dawn of daily victory provides a complete, self-sustaining psychological operating system. It basically functions in three distinct phases.
Okay, let's lay those phases out clearly for everyone. Phase 1.
First, it uses the grand inevitable cycle of nature, the astronomical reality of the dawn, to set an epic stage. This elevates our perception of daily life from a mundane grind to an arena of consequence, combating that natural slide into entropy.
Love that. Phase 2.
Second, it utilizes the concept of temporal forgiveness. The declaration that every morning is a new chance acts as a psychological firewall.
All right, our video game save point.
Yes, it clears the emotional cache, drops the sunk cost fallacy of yesterday's failures, and frees up our mental processing power.
Which leads us to phase 3.
Finally, it channels that cleared, refreshed energy into a highly focused, gamified struggle. The blunt command to win the day establishes a subjective binary victory condition.
Triggering the dopamine loops.
Exactly, triggering those dopamine loops, forcing us to prioritize action and filter out distraction to defeat whatever specific opponent we are facing that day.
It's a brilliantly efficient system for navigating human struggle. But, as we wrap up our analysis of these 13 words, there's a lingering thought about the implications of this framework.
Oh.
Yeah, and I want to leave you, our listener, to ponder this as you face your own alarm clock tomorrow morning.
We've established the mechanics of the daily battle. What's the lingering question?
Well, we talked about the cinematic framing, right?
Right.
The gladiator stepping into the arena. We talked about treating every single day as an isolated, high-stakes battle to be won. And we talked about how the temporal forgiveness of the morning mercifully resets the scoreboard to 0, clearing the cache.
Yeah, dropping the baggage.
But if the scoreboard always resets and the battle must be fought and won every single day, what does the overarching war of a whole life look like under this philosophy?
Ah, if every day is a standalone game, how do they connect?
Exactly. Is there ever a point where the victory becomes permanent? Does the gladiator ever get to secure a final triumph, walk out of the arena, and just rest?
That's a heavy thought.
Or is the true hidden nature of the dawn of daily victory that the struggle simply never ends?
That there is no final victory.
Right. Perhaps the ultimate beauty of this blueprint isn't the promise of eventually winning the war and finding permanent peace.
And what is it?
Maybe the beauty is found in having the raw courage to wake up, hear the horn, and step back into that murky, chaotic arena day after day after day, knowing the fight is never truly over.
Because the dawn always comes.
The dawn always comes, and it always demands an answer. Something to think about the next time your alarm goes off. Until next time.